Hi, everybody. Y'all caught me in mid swallow. Oh, goodness. Welcome back, my guest, Silvia from Colorful Foresight. Sylvia and I have been reading together off and on for, about 3 years now? Something like that.
At least
Um, at least 3 years.
it's
And
it's it's all, it's all blending, right?
I know. I start thinking about it, and it's like, wait, how many years have I been doing this?
Right?
It feels longer than it really is. I guess I'm
It's
stuck in my
amazing,
throat.
like watching all of you grow. Even with you and where you're at right now, it's awesome.
Oh yeah, it's wild. It's like the further along I go, of course, the more comfortable I get with just going with what I'm feeling with the cards. There are still times when I like to stop and look it up because I'm just not picking something up off the card, or I start picking up mixed messages. It was like, okay, let me see what the book says to see which way fits in with the other cards around it. And so I still do that. And I used to be embarrassed that I did it, but now I'm like, I don't care.
Well,
That's what I do. That's what I do.
like
And
my channel and even your channel, my channel's about how everybody's intuitive. Maybe some people, like everybody, it's just some people may be more inclined because maybe it's in their life path or they work at it. But
yeah,
to make it like everybody has it. That's why a lot of people are going after the election of 2024. Suddenly, a lot of the political psychic numbers went, and I discovered new people. Not because
yeah.
it's because the universe is calling them. That the psychic slew, that axe tower. I forget the different name,
Oh, yeah.
but
I've come across several people that I'd never seen before.
right, and they didn't do it
Suddenly,
before.
they're popping it up on my feed, and so I've been watching several of them. There's one that I reached out to, and she's like, "Yeah, let's do a collab." So we're gonna work that out together, and
Oh, that'd be
it's just
cool.
a matter of just excuse me, taking it one step at a time.
Yeah,
Um,
I just want to let you know, for those of you, I'm sign up to Voice It from Swamp. But for me, I'm Colorful Foresight. Please come on. I got a dowsing rod. Listen, I don't need to be original. What makes each psychic original is their personality, their spin. But I
yeah,
like it
and we
because
and
I
we all inhabit our gifts differently. We may have the same gift, but it's not gonna come out the same way,
no,
you know?
no.
Um,
Yeah, because I saw some people using dowsing rod, and I had used it, but I'm like, I like that because in a video, people who are not really doing cards, they get to see the yes and no. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna
yeah,
bring that in because doing
I've
tarot is
got
nothing
I've got
original
2
or
pairs
local.
of dowsing rods, and I play around with them every now and again, but I haven't really
You
used
know
them.
what? Maybe next time you and I will do that. We'll have a whole bunch of questions, but it
Yeah,
has to be a yes
we'll
and no
do
question, and we'll
yeah,
do it. That'd be cool.
absolutely. Well, let's say hello to everybody. The boys just got home, so, of course, dogs are barking, everybody's hollering. Um, let's see, Rose is here, Cecilia, Sandy, Donna, Barbie, Judith.
Mm.
All right, got us a nice little crew in here, and more in here than's in the chat, but that's okay. Y'all can speak. We don't bite, I promise. Make sure that you go to Sylvia's channel and like, subscribe, and share. The link to her channel is in the description box below. Um, please go to my channel and do the same. I also offer membership. Check it out. It might be for you. Um,
And let her know if you wanna see us like in a month or so. Do the dowsing rod. Could that be kind of fun?
yeah, absolutely. Um, let me scan
And
here to
Sherry, are
make
you still
sure.
looking for people to practice your mediumship with?
Not right now,
Me, yeah.
simply because some other things have happened, and it's just a little overwhelming. That's not related to this at all. And
Right, right.
so
It takes your
it's like,
time.
okay, I got to deal with some of this other stuff first. And
I, just to let you guys know, I went to Sherry like 2, 3 months ago. because I thought, what can I do for a living? A medium. But what I discovered is I'm not supposed to do medium. I have medium ability, but there's some people like Teresa Caputo and them, they are specific. So when I was reading my friend, I had no problem. But when I read Sherry, it's not about like whether I could do it or not. I couldn't get anything. The only thing I did get was that she had to watch her health, her husband and her mother, and she got very sick after. But everything else, and I was very frustrated. So when I went to my mentor, who like for the last 15 years, but I don't go to her all the time, she said that because I was limiting myself. And so it's my fear, and I want to control what kind of, what I want to do with my ability. So that was a lesson for
Yep.
me because Sherry's the type of person I feel very comfortable with. She's doing this work. So I know she's not going to judge it. She understands. It's better to be with people who are doing it because then if I'm not getting it, she's not going to be like, what's wrong? But
Yeah.
sometimes that comfort is not what I need. I need, I need to maybe have to do things differently. So that's why I mentioned the mediumship. But I just want to say, in regard to the election, I was sharing with Jerry behind the scene. I don't want to do like the whole, what do you call it? What do you call it when you lead people on something fake faith?
Oh yeah, you don't want to give false hope to people or
Awful. But I know
um
probably most of you watch like a lot of different political cycles, including Sherry. But um, I'm kind of vibing with uh, not wishful thinking. I know I'm not in denial, and I have a reality check. The former guy made. Go to inauguration for 2025. But I'm with like it makes sense, Sherry. Maybe that something else that he may not because in
yeah,
Romania, the country, they had an election and they just what do you call it?
they
They
had
null
an
and void it.
election because it was within a margin of error. They did a recount and they found so many uh uh red flags, I guess you could say, pop up from the recount. And then the very conservative fascist person was like
Well,
really pushing to just make me announce me the winner, even though she wasn't. Um,
what they
and the
finding out? It was a
Romanian,
Russian collusion. And also
they
like
information showed up that Russia was
and
messing
two,
with
3 weeks
their
before, Starlink satellite was placed in with Ilona Musk. And we
yeah
know he did that here. So it might be like
yeah
what some of you have been saying that there's intel in the US and around the world because it's not just one country being affected,
and
it's several. You got
yeah.
North
So
South
Romania
Korea.
just basically Romania's Congress said, you know what, we're just going to do a do over. They are
Well,
completely doing a whole new
that's what I'm
election.
saying. So
They're doing it all over. So
it might be maybe this is
I
how, maybe this is how why a lot of us are getting that Kamala gonna be the 2025 president.
yeah.
But you have like psychics who
Hi
also do
Sky,
an
hi Celtic Seer. So yeah.
you know,
Um
it's depending
I
on a lot of
know
factors.
Colleen and Cleo, myself, I think like David and Gary. Um
The
several of us, and I
psychic
know
slew,
Linda's
so
mentioned it
many.
too. That to keep it from looking like it's to keep it from looking like it did in 2020. The Democrats have stepped back. They're like, the people voted this, but there's a lot of information that's coming in that there was funny business with the election. There is more evidence coming forth that uh, people's votes were pulled because somebody on the right would call up and say, "Oh, I'm disagreeing with these 40,000 votes. I don't think they're real votes. I think they're fake voters. Instead of checking it, they're just yanking those votes out. We know this because of what just happened in North Carolina. There was a seat on the North Carolina State Senate judge seat. The current judge that holds that seat is a MAGA Republican. He had a very progressive liberal candidate that ran opposite him for that seat. It was very close, and so an automatic recount went in. And when they did the automatic recount, she won, the progressive. Well, now he's wanting to have 60 votes, 60,000 voters yanked out of the count, saying that they're not legitimate with no proof. And he's wanting to change the rules so that there are no automatic recounts and there's no this and it's going to automatically go back to him and all this, just a bunch of BS. And people are like, no, I don't think so. I mean, he got really pushed back on hard. So,
No, but
the
it just
progressive
shows like how powerful it is now, because usually you have like the
and
US,
how
you have other countries that are
you're,
like
it's
South
showing how
Korea.
desperate they are. South
Right.
Korea, their president or prime minister, whatever the title is for them, up and decided, I'm a dictator now, and we're going to have martial law, and nothing gets changed.
And they're like, heck
South
no.
Korean Congress, South Korean Congress and military together stepped up and said, no, there is no martial law. You cannot declare martial law when there's no need for it. You're done, So,
I know what, I have a theory. Let me share with you. You know how a lot of us, first of all, life is an unknown.
hi, Sandra. Hi, Dorella. Hi, Tammy. Hi, Donna. Okay. New people
I'm gonna
popped in. I
say,
wanted to say hello.
no, of course. I can't even see them because my computer went kaput and I'm on a
Yeah.
phone, so I can't even see any of you, so I apologize. Um, I was asking my mentor, like, she goes, sometime, first of all, America never experienced, being like in a situation what we see in other countries. The MAGA going to react to this. We need to save our country. But I wonder if we needed this time period, because you need something to convince. You got 50% or even like 40% or 43%. You need something to
Well,
be like, you know what I mean? Like maybe we needed this period
with
of time and we weren't told about it because
yeah,
the psychic
with
can be telling secrets and the universe, you know what I mean?
the exactly. Um and sometimes we're told things and then we're told don't say anything yet. And so we can't let people know. I know that's driving Cleo crazy right now because her guides told her some stuff and then they said you can't say it yet. You have to wait till we tell you it's okay. And so it's like she was talking about last night. She's driving me batshit because now I can't say what I'm hearing because they said nope, keep your lips zipped until we say you're good to go. I know Susan Lynn has that happen to her a lot. Her guides will tell her stuff and then will make her wait months before they'll let her say something about it. Um,
Because
and
you
you
have
have to
you have
learn.
eyes, there's eyes that are on political psychic watching.
Absolutely.
So
And that's why so many of the regulars that people were used to watching have stepped away. They've either come off of YouTube altogether or they've changed their platform as far as
oh
what they're
really?
doing. You've had some that have completely walked away from reading tarot at all because in Project 2025, if they were by any chance able to implement it, there is one very large section that talks about
Getting
psychics,
rid of the wishes.
witches, that we're all from the devil and we're all satanic and we're all evil. And they not only need to pull us off of the air, but they're talking, according to Project 2025, we need to be jailed, tried, and unalived in
Listen,
Texas. And so
that is
there are some
scary. I mean,
people
come on.
that's
That is,
very scared about
I
that. It's
have
very scary.
compassion because I still have hope. Otherwise, I might be like, let me clean everything up too. Even like
You,
Mika and whatever, and that
I,
guy from
yeah, Joe and
MSNBC.
Mika, yeah, from
I
MSNBC.
mean, it was weak of them, and we won't see them. But you gotta kind of have
Well, and
understanding. They're afraid,
we still
you know.
don't know if it was their choice to do that or if they were forced to do that by their bosses.
That's what I'm saying. And look, it affected them. A lot of
Yeah,
us weren't watching
yeah,
MSNBC because after what they did to Biden, and they
yeah.
are great with information, but they
And
don't do
why
solutions.
did MSNBC suddenly start acting that way? Because their new owner is a MAGA. And so he writes the checks, he
But I'm
pays the
excited,
bills.
Sherry. I have to be
I'm
hopeful. I can't think
I
the worst case
have
scenario. Seeing all these
I
people
have
fighting their leaders in other countries, it's hopeful.
even if Donald gets inaugurated, I still have this thing inside of me that keeps telling me, don't freak out because it's going to be handled. That's what the guides keep telling me. We got it under control. Just sit back and watch. So I'm like,
That's good.
okay,
I'm happy to hear
when
that.
when we when this first happened, that first week or so, and people were pulling out and pulling back, and uh, some people are truly terrified, and I completely honor that feeling. I get it. I
Yeah,
get
me
it.
too. Me too.
I did some really deep meditation and prayer time with my guides to say, okay, do I need to stop? Do I need to change? Do I need to do? What do I need to do? And they very clearly told me, they said, no, keep doing exactly what you're doing, just the way we told you to.
That's what I was gonna say. It's so easy for the people who watch, oh, they're coward. Well, that because we're speaking up, or Cherry and them are speaking up. You have to have a
You
little
have
compassion,
those
you know?
who you have those who are online that are naturalized citizens.
Mm.
They came to this country either after they were born as a child or later in life, and they became a citizen. Even though they're the right color, they are just as apt to be picked up and deported as anybody else.
Well, you
If
got the
everybody
Latinos, same
does,
thing.
if everybody does like Donald wants them to do,
Mm.
it's he's talking naturalized citizens would no longer be naturalized. You're not an American. Now, that would mean that none of his children would be American citizens because all of his children were born to women from another country that weren't American citizens when they moved here and they became naturalized. That also makes all of his children what they lovingly term anchor babies. And that's just the Donald. All his kids are anchor babies, according to their definition of what that means. It's They're talking about doing away. Part of what Project 2025 says is that kids that are born here to parents that are not legal citizens or legally here would be stripped of their citizenship. They would not be considered a citizen. Well,
Right,
that
right.
goes directly against what the Constitution says. The Constitution is very clear that if you are born in this country and or if you are born of American parents somewhere else, that makes you an American. Period. Full stop. No arguments. But see, that's part of this Project 2025 nonsense. If they manage to pull off the mass deportations that they want to pull off, we're going to see it's going to cause such chaos in this country because there are going to be people, American citizens or not, that are going to get caught up in the sweeps. You're going to have people that are going to get deported to a country that they know nothing about. They don't speak the language. And now suddenly they can't go back across the border to come home to the only home they've ever known or to the home where they were born. You know, um, I worked with a girl in Arizona. She was from California. Her family had been on the same land in California dating back to before California was a state. It was still Mexico. And it never failed. At least once a week, she would get pulled over somewhere by some cop or highway patrol or border patrol or whatever, demanding to know, what are you doing in this country? She'd be like, I live here. I'd be like, well, why are you here? I was born here. You know, my whole family was born here. We've been here longer than y'all have been here. She worked for, we were, like I said, we worked together.
I mean, I'm white,
She had
and my
gone,
family came in the 50s. So
yeah,
she's been here way before me, my family, you know?
yeah,
They
exactly. She had gone out to do, we used to do, I worked for a medical testing lab out in Phoenix, and we would do special events, I guess you could call them, where we would send one or two phlebotomists out. They would go to a company and they would do drug screening, urine samples, blood samples, that kind of thing. They'd take it all back to the lab, and then everybody that worked for that company would get tested for drugs. She had gone, the company that she went to was like a little southeast of Tucson.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the boss had told her, well, go and do this and then just go straight to Tucson and drop off all the samples at our lab in Tucson. Okay, fine. She goes out, she spends the whole morning. She's got a trunk full of blood and urine samples. She's in a company owned car that's got the company name on it. She's in her scrubs with her company badge on. She's got a company cell phone on her that we use. We used Blackberries back then to stay in touch with each other. She gets pulled over on I-10 going back to Tucson by Border Patrol, wanting to know, where is she from and what is she doing here? And she's like, I was born here. I live here. I'm working. I'm on my way to Tucson. I've got a trunk full of specimens that are under a time limit of how long they're viable. If I don't get them to the lab on time, it all goes to waste. They held her on the side of the road for almost an hour, and they kept interrogating her. Where are you from? Who sent you here? What country are you really from? She kept telling them, I was born in California. I live in Arizona. I've been here all my life. I'm at work. Is like, you can't tell that I'm not doing a job. She finally got in touch with our boss, and she told him what was going on. Well, he called the COO of the company. He said, hey, this is what's going down. I've got one of my supervisors on the side of the road with thousands of dollars worth of specimens going bad in the trunk of her car because they won't let her leave. In fact, all of those specimens had to be thrown out because they held her for so long they were no longer any good. And they had to go back, retake everything like a week or so later. The COO got on the phone with whoever she knew in government, in state government, and proceeded to ream their asses out over the fact that they just cost the company thousands of dollars in samples, and that y'all will be paying for it, not us and not the company, because we didn't do anything wrong, and neither did the company that hired us to do this job. And I mean, she flat, she was like, "You're gonna owe my employee a public apology uh, for not just the stress of pulling her over, but for interrogating her, for refusing to accept her ID and her proof of employment." I mean, she gave them what for. And sure enough, about a week later, she got a formal letter from the Border Patrol apologizing, officially apologizing for holding her for so long on the side of the road when she obviously had proof that she was who she said she was, doing what she said she was doing. And our company charged the state of Arizona for the cost of her time, the samples drawn, the equipment and materials it took to do those samples and store them, as well as the time of the company to have everybody there to collect. And it cost Arizona a nice little chunk of change,
Yeah, right.
to pay for that mistake. Now I don't know if the the agents that pulled her over, I don't know what happened with them, but I know most of us who were white that worked with her, we were more upset about it than she was,
I
because
would be.
to her, it was just another day.
Right. We don't,
Yeah,
right. Did they deal with that big
happens all the
nonsense?
time. And we were
Mm.
all like, "Excuse me, it happens all the time. That's not right." I mean, there were some of us, we were all fit to be tied. She was like, "Yeah," she just like, she says, "I have certified copies of my birth certificate, my husband's birth certificate, our kid's birth certificate. And there's a copy in every vehicle we have, so that whoever's out and about, if we get pulled over, we got proof that we were born here." You
Well,
know,
it's nuts.
I'm like, when did we have to start showing papers to prove we were Americans or that we're traveling from place to place? Yet the
You know what?
Republican
You know
plan
what would be
and
ideal?
Project 2025, they're talking about doing that, where they're going to close borders from state to state, and you can't cross unless you have papers and have proof of showing why you're going to another state. And
You know
it's
the
like,
problem
yeah,
is, we all know this, like especially around here in New York, and there's so many people, migrants. I mean, I've never seen like in Long Island and all that. So what we gotta pray for is that those countries they're escaping from, that the leaders are transforming. There's over 50, so many countries that's under dictators of sort. Because I know Kamala, if I remember correctly, around 2007, 20, well, not 2017, but right after Joe Biden won, she started to, I don't know if anybody remember, like go to find solution where those countries people not going to want to escape from. Because it's not
yeah,
just in the U.S., the migrant going all over. So a lot of people being triggered. You know, even the
oh,
Democrat could be like, yeah, there's so many around. I mean, there's so many. I've never seen them. You know,
yeah. Who
so
do you think works the fields, that puts the food in the grocery store that we eat? And what do you think is going to happen when they pull all those people and ship them out?
no, no, but these are
You're going to
new
have
set of
you're going to have food rotting in the fields with nobody to pick them,
no, no, but
because the
this is like,
farmers can't get American kids to go do it.
oh, absolutely. But these
They
are
will
new
not do that
level.
work.
They're new level. So I mean, we already know that Joe Biden did try come up with the border.
Who's going to
It's a
take care
challenge.
of Who's
So
going
we
to
have
take
to
care of
pray for
grandma and
that
grandpa,
people. Yeah, but we have to pray
in
that
the
people
nursing
don't try
homes?
escape. They're trying to escape from their country. There's a new
Right.
level. I'm talking. There is truth to it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, yeah, the Project 2025 and all that. If, like you said before, if all those Romania and South Korea and all that are ousting the leader in Russia and the Starlink satellite and all that, um, it might be a world crisis where they're like, you know what, this guy got to go. And I wonder. I don't think we're gonna have a new election, but it makes me wonder.
Well, and the fact that Elon Musk has already been proven to have messed with Wi-Fi through Starlink. For instance, when Ukraine was sending drones to protect the borders, and he would turn off their service to the whole country. with the flip of a switch, and suddenly they had no control over their drones. They didn't know where anything was. He did that numerous times.
Well,
Why the
that's
hell is
probably
he
why you
still
guys
allowed
been
to run this
seeing him.
country?
But that's why you guys seeing him like he's gonna get in doo-doo, especially after this
Oh,
satellite
yeah.
interference with the election,
Yeah.
not just in the USA, but in Romania and other countries. So
Yeah.
maybe that's
It,
why a lot of us saw what we saw, but we weren't told the bigger picture because they have to protect the secret. And there's no allowance. There's no allowance for us to see that, you know, because it's not always meant for us to see the bigger picture like that. Because it's not about us. It's about what the collective need. But
right.
here, this is where we're
Um,
at. But this is like the world, like 9 of Wands. So what we're dealing with is cyber war. It's not just so much. I mean,
yes.
you heard of that before. It's a cyber war.
I have professors that I work with. There's research is cybersecurity.
There you go. What
You
else?
know, um, I mean, it's not just gaming and virtual reality. I have several professors that's their research is cybersecurity and variations therewith. Um, yeah, it's a real issue. The problem is that our our online capabilities, our computerized capabilities, are growing and evolving so quickly that we can't keep up with the laws and how everything's supposed to work. Therefore, you've got antiquated laws that don't cover these kind of companies. Um, Personally, I think they should make the internet a utility like power, water, gas, that kind of thing that's run and or answers to the government. Because let's say you go live in town A, there may be only one internet provider for that area, and they can charge whatever the hell they want because there's no restrictions on them. There's no oversight on them. They can
Mm,
do whatever they want to do. Um, you go to City B, and maybe they've got two companies that are running it. And because these two companies are competitive, their prices are a little lower because they're trying to take the business from the other. And so it's a constant, this back and forth battle.
right.
And you'll get somebody will show up and will offer to buy company A and then will buy company B. Now it's all put together. And again, there's no choice. Your choice of who you're going to go with and where what they stand on has been taken away from you. And so
You think that's one of the solutions?
that's what that's what if you go back into the 60s, 70s, I think it was in the 70s when the government had to break up what they call Ma Bell, you know, uh, the telephone service, because uh, Bell, which eventually became AT&T, which eventually had bought that out. But back then, there was like one phone service across most of the country. They could charge whatever they wanted to charge. And if you got in trouble with Ma Bell over your account, there was nobody else to go to get another account. It's not like with cell phones where you've got 20 options of what cell phone company you're going to go with. And so, because they were abusing that fact, government came in and they made phone service a utility,
Oh,
which means that they couldn't price gouge, they couldn't consolidate all the companies in that area into one company to where people didn't have a
mm.
choice.
That's
Everything was
interesting.
regulated by the federal government. And it
Never.
broke up Ma Bell. It literally made the company sell pieces of itself off just so it could branch out and become more companies. And it was that was a good day when that happened. Of course, you had those that supported what that company was doing, screaming, "Oh, it's socialism!" Da 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 da. It's like, yeah. So is garbage pickup. So is the fire department. Your house catches on fire, and the fire department shows up. The first question out of their mouth is not, "Well, are you a customer? Did you pay your last month's bill? If not, then we're just going to sit here and let your house burn down."
You know, there's some
You know,
people that they're saying that we shouldn't even have that. Like they're like, no, we should go back to not relying on any of that either. They're like that. I'm like, but then you gotta have the wild
even the Wild Wild
some kind
West
of
had rules and had stuff like that. Most of their, say, fire patrol was done by
it's
volunteers,
okay.
and you still have smaller companies or smaller cities today that have volunteer fire
Is
departments.
it me or do you that going in and out?
It's probably both. It's internet's been wonky lately.
Woo
Um,
woo, but like
yeah,
in and out. Um,
internet's been really wonky. But it's this massive power grab by the right that for years they kind of did it under the table, kind of sly and slick, and people weren't really aware of what was going on, generally speaking. Um, but now they're at the point where they're not trying to hide it anymore. They're doing it in everybody's face with
right,
an attitude of, yeah, what you gonna do about
right, exactly.
it? And
You know what? You know what came to my
unfortunately,
mind? Nikola Tesla.
yeah,
You know how he created, well, it was from the ET, but he was channeling, and
yeah,
all his work is being not used correctly. And now we have Ilona that owned it. So what come to mind when you were speaking about the utility and all that? You know that astrologer they keep talking about the Pluto in Aquarius and like during the Civil War stuff. But what keep coming to my mind is this idea of other society that were advanced and they had technology. If you know, we heard about like the Atlantean, if probably others that we don't even know about. So how could we reframe it and not go through that again? So one of it, what came to me is this idea of, well, in a proper way, we all go into enlightenment, more or less, most of humanity. There's no getting there, but the after enlightenment, that this, and after enlightenment, that, because the universe is infinite. But for humanity to go into transform enlightenment, then we don't really have to worry about AI because the programmer is what feeds it. So if we are if whoever's programming part of that enlightenment energy, then
yeah,
because you know the AI supposedly could end up being sentient being, just like anything, you know. But
hmm,
going back to Nikola Tesla, I kept hearing him recently. Okay, I'll scratch that. Like 2 3 months ago, I went to a psychic fair and I got a pendant, and with the Tesla pendant. Now you know how they have all these pendants that supposedly supposed to ground you, and then they have quantum by Tesla, and they have even stickers you put on your body and it
hmm,
helps with the pain. So I bought a few of them and that was okay. But the pendant from Tesla, soon I put it on and I bought it for my mother, it drained my body. And so when I Googled on it, it's called the Scalar pendant, SCALAR pendant. There were like scientists that were measuring it and they found it had high level of Ukrainian in it. So there are people who are like,
uranium, you mean?
right. So it was affecting, it was making them sick.
Yeah,
So my intuition, I was like, why you make me spend $40 and then that? But instead, right away, it taught me a lesson. Like you got to be careful with even when you go to the new energy because this is where kind of where RFJK and them going into in Tesla, where they're using technology for not well. So we also want Ilona not be part of Tesla. So Nikola Tesla wants his work back. That's what I keep getting. So what I did with
yeah,
that pendant, I cracked it because if I throw away, I don't want somebody else to pick it up. I cracked it. I called my mentor that I talked about. She said that energy. She said anytime it drains down, it's negative. If it goes up, it's positive. So I got scared. Like I was like, oh my God, like it's not just about sniper war. It's about all those bed meds, all those like positive holistic stuff that are using technology. Like even like if you think of what do you call it? They use for the face the red color. What is that red?
Hmm.
It's okay now, but if we let these guys invade here and around the world, they're gonna use it for negativity. You know.
Oh, absolutely.
So this point we have to
There's so
fight.
much stuff that was created for good that's being
They're all
used for
created for
that.
good, but Nicola's like, I want, I'm taking it back. So this
Yeah.
time period, the Pluto, Aquarius, which I don't do
Hi, Morgan.
astrology, and I know
Hi,
you do.
Helen.
I
Yeah.
feel like guys look into
Hi,
praying
Deb.
for Nikola
Yeah.
Tesla get their work back from the greedy corporation. So Ilona, it's way bigger than we think, not just about the satellite or helping
Well,
with the
no,
election.
it's all the way around. I mean, you see it in entertainment. You've got corporations that are going into areas and they're buying up all the TV stations, all the radio stations, so that you have one company that's controlling your rock station, your country station, your easy listening station. But they're all following the same rules. They're not independent little companies anymore. You've got you may have 3 or 4 TV stations in your city, but if they're all owned by the same company, then you're going to get the same message. Uh, Part of the problem has been that we've allowed our journalism to be in to be incorporated and taken over by other corporate masters, so to speak, so that you're not getting that differing opinion. The only news you hear about is stuff that they decide you're going to hear about, not
And
what's
you
happening in your area.
and we're
Uh,
learning that. That's what we learned like the last decade with Trump and them. Like we got to see a lot of different things. Like, whoa. So especially after the election, all of us it was weird. Like, could I been following you guys, like Linda
Hi,
and all
Karina.
that?
Hi, JW. Yeah,
And you guys fairly accurate, 75%, which we know it's high because you got free will and all that other factors. And then this time, how it turned out, it it too. First, I said that it's the unknown, which we're all uncomfortable with. Number
yeah.
two, there are certain things we can't know ahead of time. And when you watch like Sterling and Linda G and them, they talk about the timeline and how they see it and how it lands, you know? And then again, all of us that's still feeling like maybe Kamala will still be president, but we don't want to give fake hope either. We got to be realistic.
Right.
Especially people who
Um,
do listening to us
it,
and you don't do psychic work, you take it to the key,
I
what we
see
say.
them getting the information. I've read on it numerous times, and my cards keep telling
I
me,
know,
my
right?
guides keep telling me they're aware of what's going on. They're
Yeah.
collecting all the evidence. But the me part, the human part, is not very confident that they're going to do anything about it.
It hurt my confidence right after the election.
And
Emailed
then,
you.
and then another part of me is like, please, oh, please, oh, please, oh, please, oh, please, let them do something to stop this madness from happening. Um, you saw how the press overreacted because President Biden pardoned his son, Hunter.
Oh God.
He did that after he had the meeting with Trump
And the director,
where
sorry, of
where
FBI.
he asked Trump to please leave his son alone. He's not doing anything against you or yours. He's not in politics. He's a recovering addict who's trying very hard to do what's right now.
Right.
And Trump refused to make him that promise. When Trump refused to promise to leave Hunter alone, that's when Biden went in and just pardoned him from everything.
Yeah, some people think it had to do with
It was to protect his son.
yeah,
People are
yeah, no,
all
but
up in
some people
arms.
think it had to do
Oh,
with
he lied
past.
to us. He told us he would never do that. Well, that was before the life
Oh,
of his son was
absolutely.
on the
I don't
line,
feel like with any
you
other
know.
president or if Kamala came in, he would have went again what he said that he was not going to do.
No,
Kat
it would have been a
Patel,
done deal.
the FBI director. You think he's not afraid for his son of who he's
He's got a
picking
hit
with his
list,
cabinet pick?
and he's already let it be known that Hunter's at the top of the list, that he's
Oh
gonna
yeah,
be pursuing him into the neverland, you know? Um, so,
oh, you know what? I forgot.
yes,
I forgot the name of
Karina,
the show.
I
What?
saw that this morning. Gavin Newsom gave a news conference yesterday, and somebody asked him during the news conference
Right.
if they were aware of all of the problems that people are finding with the voting. And basically, what he said is the White House is aware of what's going on, things are being taken care of. Just don't worry about it. It's going to be handled.
Listen, it's a
He
secret
didn't come
thing.
out and say we're going to change anything or stop
Right.
anything or nothing. He just said, yeah, they're aware. Things are being done to deal with it. Just
Right.
chill.
Mhm.
That because he was letting people know that something's going to happen from this. Some way, somehow, somewhere. Something's going to happen from this. But he didn't come outright and say, yeah, we know they cheated and yeah, they stole the vote and yeah, we're going
You
to do
can't.
this, we're going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
He can't say that.
No.
Just like a lot of people got upset because Kamala didn't react the way they thought she would. She
What
conceded,
they
you know.
You have to be like smart, you know?
And it's like she knows a lot more than she's letting us know. And she's letting those that are in the position to collect the information they need do their job by not drawing attention to it. And I think she and President Biden took the stand of we're going to step back. We're going to pretend like we're the same wimpy Democrats we always are. We're not going to do anything about it. We're going to go, oh, woe is me. We lost. Oh, well. I don't think that's what they're doing at all. And
And
then
you're
you had people
seeing
that
it.
were
You're
getting
seeing it with Romania, going back to what
you
we've
have
been
people
saying.
getting
South
really pissed
Korea,
off that she went to Hawaii for a few weeks. Well,
right?
what's she doing in Hawaii? Why isn't she doing what she's doing? I said, somebody had asked Linda that question and she was answering it. And I happened to catch it. I was listening to it on my ride home from work. And it hit me. I got a major hit off of it, big time, where I was very clearly told she's in Hawaii, so she's not near the seat of power of what's happening. They've removed her to make her seem like she's not involved with what's happening in DC. But at the same time, two of our top agencies that deal with spying, let's say, are based in Hawaii. That's where the eyes and the ears are. So,
Yeah.
what better place for her to be than right there in the middle of where they're doing all this stuff?
I mean, she needed some self-care and do the
She did.
investigation.
She was very wounded after
Oh,
this happened.
sure.
Very wounded. Um, I could just feel it like an open wound, just gushing blood.
Like a
I could
shock.
see it and feel it. And she needed time to heal. She needed time with her family to help bring in that healing. And then she needed to find her mad.
I mean,
She
think
was
about it,
sad.
common sense. If they said something, there would have been like a half population would have went up in a war. So you can't do that. It's just,
Well,
it's a
that's the
strategy.
thing is no matter what they do now, depending on how they handle this information coming out. And what's going to happen because of it is going to depend on if we go into a civil war in this country. Because there are going to be people superbly pissed off on both sides. Part of the issue we're having trouble with right now is Donald already had his side all riled up and ready to fight, and then he won. Well, where were they? What were they supposed to do with all that anger they had built up? There's nobody to direct it to, but each other, and they started
So
eating
funny.
their own.
It's crazy because the people I know that voted for him, I know a lot. They're so calm and in peace. They have no idea what they voted into, And they're not dumb. They're not like hillbilly. It's just they've been brainwashed, lied to. They're not shown the whole picture. So what did Ellen say? All of this seemed to tie into 2014 Malaysia plane crash. They have been tracking, wiretaping, watching them for the last 10 years. What do you mean? In what way?
Oh yeah, uh, there have been things that have been happening going back since the going back to the election of Gore and Bush Jr.
Right.
And the Supreme Court was already becoming very corrupted at that point. And they're the
Mm.
ones that stepped in and said, stop counting. We've announced the winner. And instead of
Oh,
fighting back, everybody was like, oh, well, okay. Bush won. No, he didn't. When it went back and they counted the numbers, he lost significantly by a large margin.
wow.
Gore won.
Yeah. Mm.
But nobody knew that. They had people in place to plant the false stories of, oh, they're changing the ballots. Oh, they're doing this, they're doing that, they're doing the other. It's like, how would these people know this stuff? Because they were paid to be there to say that and to get it into the news. And you had the media, which was already in the process of being bought off. That was, okay, tell us what our marching orders are. Well, you're going to tell this story this way and this story this way. And they started doing it. 9/11 happened. The Bush White House was told this was going to happen months before it occurred, and they ignored it. They refused to believe it.
Can it never happen?
And
That's
then it
why.
happened,
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, we
Now
had like incidents.
I'm not saying it was an inside job. I really think that the Saudis had something to do with it for entertainment purposes only, YouTube. But it was a fact that you had one country and it was their people that did the hijacking and the plane flying and bombing and whatnot. And then we're going to do something about it. We're going to show them we're not going to take this, so we go attack another country that had nothing to do with it. And why did we attack that country? Because we wanted their oil. And the only way we could get in there and get their oil was to have a fight over it and beat them. And that's what we did. So we attacked Iran and Iraq. We attacked Iraq instead of the Saudis. The Saudis were responsible for 9/11. Everybody knows it. If you read any information on it, you know it. And we attacked Iraq. That would be like if France lobbed missiles at us. And so we turned around and attacked Canada for it. What the hell does Canada have to do with it other than they speak French?
Right, really.
Um, that's basically what happened with 9/11 in the Afghan war. We
Well, you know
went
what?
to
If you
war
think
with the
about it,
wrong people so we could steal their oil and their oil fields.
we were surprised. It's the same thing with the. We never thought we'd be at this situation. You know what I mean?
No.
It never happened to us. I mean, we had problems. I mean, that's just the nature of. But where we always used to watch other countries that have problem with that, and also talking about the Middle East, we know that somehow this is a long game with like the country in China, Russia, in the Middle East, and who knows what else, the elite and all that. Probably decades in the making to try and knock down to have New World Order. After the former guy won, you know, the leader in Russia was like, "Oh, congratulations! Now we're all China and I don't know what the other country, but we're ready for New World Order." So this is some kind of long game going on, you know. Also, all the country are oil people, right? And then, I mean, it's all related, right? It's all connected. But
Yeah,
it's
and now
very
we're in a position where we're really moving towards independent, oil-free transportation.
going back to Nikola Tesla. Why you think
Yeah.
they don't want him? They hijack his work because they can't make
Yep.
money off of free energy.
Exactly. It is such
I
a
know, but
deep
we're kind of
rabbit
going
hole
circles, but it's all related, guys. You know?
when you start digging into everything,
Yeah,
and you got this arm, this arm, this arm, you got
exactly.
all these different areas,
Right.
but they all come back and tie to one thing.
Mhm.
And so it's real easy to get stuck in one line of stuff happening. Um, Personally, I think that our government is going to wait for other countries, perhaps NATO itself, to come forward and say, hey, publicly, and say, we have proof that your election was hacked, that people were paid off to cheat, that votes were destroyed, that never got counted, and all this stuff, so that the calling out and the proof of what was done is not the Democrats saying, oh, they cheated, they cheated, they cheated, like the
Exactly.
Republicans did for 4 freaking years.
Right.
Instead, this is other countries saying, in the process of looking into law enforcement on our side of things and what we're dealing with, this is what we discovered. And
Yeah,
I
and not
think
only that,
when that starts coming out is when you're going to start seeing a lot of these MAGA light people backing off and saying, okay, wait a minute, it's going to turn the tide. Now, does that
especially
mean
with
that,
Romania and South Korea, so they can't stay all NATO with Biden. It's a lot of different factors. And look, we
yeah,
got that Iranian guy running to Russia, right? So you heard about
uh,
that, right, Assad?
no, what happened?
The Iranian, I don't know if they call him president or prime minister, whatever. He escaped and went to Russia.
Okay, I didn't know
So
about that.
all these dictators are. It seems like they either are in a must. They're in a crust of downfall, or they're escaping. So my point is, going back what you're saying, it's not just NATO. It seems like whoever is for the former guy, they're seeing a lot of different things besides NATO. That you know what I mean. I hope, like you said, it's starting to click together. So Rose said the big three car in the 1940s stopped subway built in LA, California, because they wanted to sell cars to people. Right? This is nothing new. Right? So many
Yeah.
different, like you said, there's so many different.
So you have Europe that has these bullet trains that, yeah, there are bad accidents, but that's going to happen no matter where. But
Right?
overall, their safety rate is far higher than ours is on roadways. They don't have near the problem with dealing with the exhaust and all the pollution and everything with cars because they've got bullet trains and everybody takes a train. It's no big deal. It's like in some of your big cities on the East Coast, everybody takes a subway. No big deal. I've
Right?
never been on a subway. I've never ridden on a subway. Freaked me out the first time I go into one because I don't know what to expect because it's
Right?
foreign to me.
Right?
But I've known enough people that have lived in East Coast cities that, like, yeah, it's no big deal. You just get on the train, it takes you where you need to go. Um, it's a lot of little things like that that have been built up over the years. You had you had cigarette companies that knew back in the 30s that cigarettes caused cancer. And did they say anything about it? Oh, hell no. They just doubled down on their advertising. In the 50s, when television came along, it became part of the thing for TV stars and movie stars and whatnot to be smoking on camera and talking about, oh, the great flavor of Camel or Newport or whatever the hell brand it was, Marlboro, be like a man. Except the
Right?
Marlboro cowboy man died from lung cancer
Oh
in a
gosh.
horrible death. Yes, um, and it they knew long time ago before there were any regulations to come along that say cigarettes are bad for your health. Yeah, no effing shit. I mean, they knew that a long time. Big gas and oil know that it's a finite substance and we're destroying our own ability to live on our own planet by continuing to pursue that aspect. When we have renewable energy that's at our fingertips, stuff that was ready to be implemented back in the 70s when Carter was president and was getting ready to make the entire fleet of the post office and all government offices and stuff,
Holy
they were all
totally.
going to go to electric cars, even though electric cars were brand new back then.
Yes.
And the structure for them wasn't really there yet, but they were ready to start building on it. Reagan was bought and paid for by big oil and gas. He gets elected, comes in, the first thing he does is he shuts all that shit down. Turns around, he breaks the back of the unions so that they can make states right to work states, right? Which means it's not a right to work, it's a right to get your ass fired anytime somebody doesn't like what you're doing. No questions asked. You can't sue about it. I live in a right to work state, I know. I watched the propaganda they used to make people think this was a great thing. Our governor just managed to force his new tax plan, our new MAGA governor, and got our Congress to sign off on it. It goes into effect, I think, in January. They're going to discontinue income tax. That's a tax they take off of your paycheck to pay for the running of your state, right? Services, roads, bridges, da 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 da, whatever. They're going to discontinue income tax and they're going to increase sales tax by 20 to 30%
So you worry
on
about eggs?
everything.
You,
On
you worry about eggs? That's
everything.
nothing.
They're going to they're going to tax you on food, on medicine, on gasoline, on anything you're going to spend money on. You're going to pay a 20 to 30% tax hike on it. Now, who is that going to hurt? That's going to hurt poor people and working class people who don't have money left to sock away in an account somewhere. They live check to check. They spend every penny they bring in. And now the economists say because this new tax law has been passed, it's going to cost the average Louisianian $2,000 to $5,000 more per year that they're going to be paying just in taxes than what they're paying now. So we're going to be paying more money. We're going to be taxed more money than the taxes we pay now. And then out of that money that they're getting from this new magical sales tax, they're going to give big oil and company and other big companies and the rich, they all get another tax cut. Guess who doesn't get that tax cut?
So how can
Regular
we
people.
so you're sharing a lot of reality check, like what could happen?
That's happening. They passed it 2 days ago. They
Wow.
passed
He,
the
they they rely on us to
he
not really pay attention to that, you know?
yeah, exactly.
Like
Exactly.
I totally don't even know about that. I'm not surprised, but
Yeah.
you
I
think the
mean,
people who voted for
he's
him
been
know
pushing
that?
since he got elected last year. He's been pushing this new tax bill. He's been pushing. He literally managed to get it forced through and accepted within the past couple of weeks. And they just signed off on it. And they had Republicans fighting back against it just as hard as the Dems were in the House and the Senate here in the state government. And he still managed to strong arm his way into getting that bill passed. And so it's like people voted for Trump because their eggs were too high. How are you going to feel when it costs you $10 to buy a dozen eggs? Because that's coming. Because now they're talking about, through Trump's supposed people he's trying to pick, that they're going to implement the same thing federally. We're
You know
just going to
what?
put a flat tax on everybody and everything.
I'm not feeling his energy. I know I'm not the only one who's talking about it. I've been listening
Yeah.
to you. I'm not feeling him. I don't know where he is. It's like, where is he really?
I I I
I
I
don't
don't know
know.
where he is. All the pictures and stuff they showed for Thanksgiving
I
was
know,
not
right?
him. That was not him.
Yeah. I saw you
Or
talk about it, but you're right. I
they
don't
were
feel
old
him.
pictures of him. But I don't know if he's in a hospital bed somewhere or if he's off drooling in the back room and they're not letting him out. I don't know what the situation is. My guides won't show me that. They're just like, you don't need to know that yet. Okay.
Oh, I'm trying to remember her name. I think it's Lori from Whispering Something. She's blonde hair.
Oh, Lori from the Way of Positive Change.
Okay. So
She
she was
lives
like,
in Central Florida.
right. She's awesome. I just thought maybe that's something we could end the video with, and you could look at your card. So she was
Oh,
like,
wow,
she
we've
was
been at this
reading.
an hour already.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I know you don't want to make too long. She was reading on like who's going to be the president for 2025, like January, February, March. Yes, we have to fight. Absolutely, Sandra. Could I find some of my Democrat people? They're like, well, screw it. I'm just gonna tune out. I'm like, no, but they're not like us that watch psychic stuff and in
Yeah.
tuning. And there's a lot of people on Blue Sky. They're not into psychic stuff. Blue Sky, the new app, where people going from Twitter to Blue Sky, and there's a whole resistance going there. Um, so people are doing their thing. But going back to Lori, she was reading like from yesterday, so maybe you didn't see
I
it yet.
saw it. Yeah.
So it's like
I watched
she's
it live.
reading,
Yeah.
yeah, she was reading like several months. And in the end, and some of you could correct me on it, she saw the emperor, but it wasn't like the former guy. It wasn't Van. It was a male. So the only thing I'm like thinking, and look, this is all here, this is just thrown up in air, don't take it from literal. You know how like if something's wrong with the president and the VP, Nancy Pelosi would be like that third person, right? What is that position? Like if something that never happened, if something happened to the president, it's given to the
The vice
VP. But if
president,
both of them are out, it's the third
the
person. I
House
think
Speaker of the House.
that would be
It's the
okay.
president, the vice president, the Speaker of the House.
So who's the Speaker of the House? Nancy?
No, right now it's Mike Johnson from Louisiana.
Okay. So she saw
Mr.
like,
God talks to me and told me I'm Moses.
no, all right, who is that male
Honest
guy,
to God,
a
that's what he
black
said.
male guy in a Democrat? Hakim?
That's Hakeem Jeffries.
I'm wondering if
And
he would be
he's
the
going to be the
one,
next Speaker of the House.
but I'm
And it's going
wondering
to
if he's the
happen a
one who
lot sooner.
temporarily be the president. If Maury talking about some other person temporarily holding spot, if he end up being, if Mike Johnson somehow, I'm just throwing that out there, guys.
I don't know. That's,
It's like, you know
see what
what?
the
This
cards say.
sounds like a story. You know what's funny? A lot of us don't want to do what the Republican been doing with conspiracy theories and all that. And here
Well,
we are
that's
like,
it.
this is
They
fact. And it's also
they
intuition.
owned
It's not doing
they
a
owned the
conspiracy.
storyline. They owned the storyline of they cheated back in 2020, and they constantly harped on it
So what
nonstop.
question you're asking? So I'd shuffle with you. What are you asking?
Um, I'm basically what I'm asking is if Trump and Vance are taken out
Right.
and not able to hold office,
Who's gonna do it?
naturally it would go to Speaker of the House. That's third in line of
Right.
control.
Or if it's not Kamala. So let's find out. You're
If
right.
if if it goes to the Speaker of the House, what is the possibility between it being Moses Mike or Hakeem Jeffries?
I mean,
Because
the death card came out,
the way things are turning up, the breakdown of the House is going to be 217 to 215.
which is
They've got
good.
us beat. They've got us beat by 2 seats.
Right.
It's awfully easy to get 2 people to flip over, or 3 people to flip over. You know,
Especially if it's been like the Republican, either the recount, that's still continuing the recount, or a Republican who didn't speak up, but they're gonna feel to do the right thing, you know? But
first card
anyway,
up is
yeah,
Judgment.
what do you got?
Judgment.
Oh, see, we're still dealing with the unknown. It could be, guys, not because all of us don't. It's because it's not
2
our
of
business,
Cups. They're going
you
to
know?
have to work together on some of this stuff.
Right. And we may not know because there
Um,
are people who are watching these type of videos that are not for the good. You know what I mean?
9 of Wands. The current battle may be over, but the war is far from finished. This is taking your breather, putting the bandages on the boo-boos from where you got hurt, and gearing up for the next round.
I mean, I do get like the 9 of
And then I get
Pentacles.
the 3 of Swords.
Can you put that up? I can't see the image. Put it up. Oh, disappointment.
For them. I'm reading on the Republicans. First card I
And
got was Judgment. And then I got the 2 of Cups. They're going to have to come over to work with some people to get stuff done.
that'd be nice if it's true.
And then I got the 9 of Wands. That's
Defense.
basically kind of shoring up your defenses. The battle may be lost, but the war is not over. The battle may be won, but the war is not over. This is them shoring up their defenses, taking a breather, figuring out where the hurt is, what
Kind
needs
of
to be.
remind me of like
In a
Romania.
regular Rider Waite, the person on this card is seen with a bandage wrapped around his head.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like he's battle weary and injured. In this card, that's a little elf that looks like he is freaking terrified out of his mind. And he's got his candy canes stacked up around him for protection because he knows it's not over yet and there's more to come. And then I got
I'm liking
the
your
3 of
Christmas
Swords.
cards.
I'm loving this deck.
Oh,
This
that's
is
awesome.
Christmas Elf
Wow.
is the name of the cards. I think I got them from Temu's, or no, Amazon. It's either Amazon or Etsy. I don't remember now which ones I
So
got.
amazing, guys. Even if you don't do Oracle card, I would if go into Oracle cards, keep it simple, because tarot is a little more challenging. But the creativity of each people that create them and the
Yeah.
illustration. But going with
Well, a lot
Cherry,
of y'all have seen. My. I did a card flip on the Sanctus Concordia tarot deck. These cards are beyond beautiful.
is it?
They are. Here's the Queen of Wands.
Wow. Now
Here's
we're
the King
going
of
back.
Wands.
Mm.
It's very expensive. The book doesn't come with it. You have to buy the book separately. You have
Oh,
to
that's
go
the one
to
you were
their
talking about
website.
in the email you
Yeah,
send me?
yeah. You got to go to their website to order the cards. I have a
You know,
link in my description box if you want to get any of their cards, and they have quite a variety to pick from. I have a link in my description box. You'll get 10% off.
that's awesome.
The creator of these cards, somebody sent him my video that I did on those as a flip through. And he contacted me and said, "Is this you showing my cards?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I wanted everybody to see them. They're so beautiful. I love
Right.
them. I love these are the ones when I do personal readings, these are the cards I use. I don't use these for political readings because I
You
don't
know
want to
what?
dirty them up.
It's an
I use
investment.
these
Just
I
cut
use
out some
those
of
for
your
my
Starbucks
personal
drinks
readings.
and buy the
Yeah.
cards, you know?
Um, and he uh he was very appreciative. He asked me if there were any other decks that I liked. And I said, "Yeah, I was saving up for another deck." He's like, "What deck do you want?" I
Oh,
said, "Well," I said, "You've got I said, there's a oracle deck you have called the Terrestrial Fauna Oracle deck, and I'll show you some of the cards.
and
I
you know
haven't
what's
done the flip
great?
through
You know it's coming
on
from him.
these yet.
You know it's coming from the creator because there's so many fake ones
Yep.
nowadays.
Hey, this one is kangaroo.
Don't mess with the
Uh,
kangaroo.
yeah. Here is the ox. I mean, his artwork is divine. He sent me this as a thank you gift. He sent it to me for free as a thank you gift for showcasing his cards. And then he sent me a couple of other decks, and I'm going to do promos for them and
I
send
can't.
them to him.
Yeah, do it. You
So
know,
I was like, wow.
it seems like a lot of money, but if you really think about it, I don't know how much you get paid in a paycheck. It's like 2 hours, 1 hour work. You know, it's like an investment, and they last a long time. You know, maybe don't get Starbucks for a week. You know, something like that. So, yeah, um, I know you were telling me about it. I have my eye on it, but one
Yeah,
thing
I
I
mean, and y'all, if y'all are interested, if you like those cards, I'm getting ready to do the new card flips for the Oracle deck and the other two decks he sent me, and so everybody will be able to see the ones that I've got so far. They've
yeah.
got a bunch more on their website. You're ordering directly from the guy that created them. Very nice guy, and he generously offered me to tell everybody use your link and then get 10% off. And I said, works for me. So, um, you've got Patty Palmer, who's she's kind of been persona non grata lately because her daughter died not too long ago. And so she's been healing. But she does blessing jars where she creates this jar that you can put like in your doorway or your window. And the stuff that she puts in it is stuff that you collect, you're interested in, things that spirit tells her to put in there to be protection and blessings for you and your household. And I don't have it in today's description box. I'm going to add it after the fact. You can contact her to order yourself a blessing jar.
Do you have
She's
it? You
very
have it for
psychic.
you, or you want to order
Um,
it? Do you have it?
mine got mailed off to me today.
Oh, you know what? When you
I
get it, you have to show it
We
to us.
talked for like 2 hours this morning. We sat and just talked on the phone.
You know,
Um,
maybe you could do a video
and
on that. You know, like
I
with the
plan on it.
blessing. Yeah,
I plan on it when I get it. Yeah. Um,
that's
but
cool.
she's very psychic herself. She does personal readings herself.
Wow.
Um,
Or maybe you could have her
so
on. That'd
I'm
be
hoping
cool.
to. I'm hoping to.
That'd
Um,
be awesome.
Morgan the Void. Morgan was on here. I saw her earlier. I don't know where she's at. She just did an aura portrait on me
I saw
that
that. Yeah.
blew my flipping mind. It was so accurate. There were things that she got that she put into this that was just like, I've never discussed that. No one would know that. It's not on some database somewhere because it was before the internet, and it truly floored me how beautiful it was. Um, and
So
so
many talents out there, you know?
there we have some very, very talented people in our community. that do all kinds of different things, not just readings and stuff, which, yeah, that's
Exactly.
still talent as well. You do
Yeah.
readings, I do readings, um, but there are a lot of people that use different types of divination tools like the rods or the pendulum or their crystal ball to scry. I'm trying to learn how to do that. And uh, there's just there are so many gifted people in our community that either don't get the exposure they need or who haven't felt comfortable to like create their own show and come on,
The one that are
but
watching right
they're
now, some of
but they're
you right now,
doing,
that's you. You don't
yeah,
have to do the
yeah,
kumbaya. It could be you being in a garden and the flowers speak to you and you do reading that way. You just don't know. There's so many different ways. Detectives, I believe they're probably most likely, beside common sense and connecting the dots, you need facts. They're also using their
yeah.
intuition. Like murder
The
case. I mean, Mel does that, Mel Dore. But I think regular cop, they have a hunch. Business people have gut feeling, different things.
yeah.
Um,
Um,
but anyway, just to wrap
there's a
up,
lot of there's a lot of stuff happening. There's a lot of stuff that's going to come out between now and January 20th. Um,
you
will it
showing up with that two of cup,
will it
the two of cup.
change the course of things? I don't know. Maybe. I hope against hope it will. My very cynical side says, yeah, no, it's not going to make a difference.
That
I don't like
true.
listening to that side because I think it will make a difference no matter what
And
happens.
and there's also a
Because
part of us that are
the
realistic
lesson to
too.
be learned here is that we can't be willing to sit back and do nothing.
Right.
Being part of a representative government means you got to know what the hell's going on and be a part of it. You got to get up off your ass and go vote. You got to know what the what the situation is, what people are voting on. For local votes, they might have amendments or special tax incentives or something that are put on your ballot. If you haven't read up on any of that, you don't know whether to vote yes or no on that stuff. I mean, I'm fortunate. I get to vote by mail because I'm handicapped, and I usually get my ballot about 2 weeks before the election, and I'm able to then look at the questions for anything that's not just checking off a box on the who's running, and that gives me a couple of weeks to go in and read both sides of an issue to determine, well, would it be better to say yes or say no? Um, for positions that maybe I'm not even aware we have positions for that. Um, and you got people running, whether if they're Republican or Democrat, I go look them all up to just kind of see where their politics lie. What do they believe in? What do they stand for? Um, I mean, I laugh and say I never vote for Republicans, but I have voted for Republicans that were at least more center than they were right. And because there was no one on the left to oppose them.
Right,
So
because
it
you,
was
you
either
you can have like
center right
probably
or far right. So I'm
yeah,
going to go with the center right. But you
right.
got to know who that is. I mean, a
Listen, I never
representative
paid attention
government
to politics.
demands that we
I, I know
be a
some of you
part
are
of it.
smarty pants, but I never paid attention to politics until the last 8, 9 years.
You know,
You're educating me all the
President
time.
Clinton was the first president I ever voted for. I could have voted for Reagan. I was old enough,
Right,
but I didn't because I didn't give a crap back then. I was like, yeah,
right.
whatever. My vote doesn't count anyway. I had believed the lie that they were already spreading that your vote doesn't matter.
I'm trying
Now
to
I
think who
know
else
that
to do.
it matters more than we will ever know, especially if they actually count them.
Right.
But because we've had several generations that have kind of just thrown up their hands, they don't pay attention, they don't care. They're just going to go to whichever name they recognize the most or whichever face they've
I've
seen
done
on
that.
TV more. And that's who they're going to vote
You know what
for.
I've been surprised by? People
I
in their
was
50s, 60
pulling
never
for,
voted.
I mean, I was pulling to vote for Bush when I was pulling to vote for Bush when Daddy Bush when Clinton was running until 2 days before election day, and I saw the 60 Minutes interview with Bill and Hillary Clinton.
Mm.
And during that interview, one of the overhead lights that they had up exploded. The light exploded and it fell like right at them. And his natural instinct, I mean, you see them both jump. And the first thing he did was he threw his arms around Hillary to protect her, to cover her.
Oh,
And I
well,
thought, okay, that wasn't planned. That was just natural instinct. His first instinct was protect my wife. And I thought, okay, I can vote for this man, despite all the other crap that I was hearing about him.
right. Despite him being like not a faithful type, he really protect her otherwise.
Yeah,
I think she knows. She probably knows the deal, but yeah, that's really that says a lot.
they have their own marriage worked out for what works best for
They
them, and
worked it
it's none
out,
of my damn
whatever.
business. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
oh, I
that's
see. Yeah,
cool.
we got a troll in the house. Mr. Ben is
So what did he say?
feeling
We're
he's
not doing
feeling lost and lonely and obviously needs friends. Trump is the best president. I love Trump. Trump
Oh,
needs to stay president. See, it doesn't disappear from the StreamYard chat,
you know what?
but
He
it's already been blocked on the YouTube chat, so that's cool. Thank you very much,
it really
Pegasus, for taking
it
care of
really
that.
teaches me that even if I had a favorite, let's say Obama was my favorite or Biden my favorite, I can never be that delusional to want them for a third term because it kind of defies the purpose of somebody having too much power. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So to make him like this, it's you know,
yeah. Um, so y'all pray for Ben. I don't know if Ben is a real person or if he's a bot, but in case he's a real person, pray for him. He
if that's your
obviously,
opinion, he's the red dot in a raid of blues, right?
yeah, I mean, obviously he needs friends. He's lonely. He's having to come over here to somebody on the opposite side of the aisle, to express himself. So
I mean, if he's not negative and he's just saying that for him, I
I
mean,
didn't see
we have to
anything
learn how
like
to be with each other.
bad, but it's just more annoying than it is anything else. There are
Yeah.
some bots that come on some of the people's chats that's like really, really ugly, really, really bad. And, those I will report to YouTube as being harmful. But for somebody like this, yeah, his message got deleted. He's
Yeah. You
I'm
know what?
not
You know what comes to mind
worried
before we wrap up? We've done the prayer for that guy just in case he's the real deal. When I first started my channel, I kind of like had sometime a little bit of a rose colored glasses, meaning like
yeah.
not spiritual bypassing, but I remember I read on Ivanka, is that Ivanka or Ivana, the ex-wife?
Ivana was the
Ivana,
wife.
okay.
Ivanka
And
is his daughter.
I read on Elon, this way before, like I guess in the beginning. And I remember reading him. And in my mind, I was like, okay, okay, he's a good person. But at the end, I kept getting the Seven of Sword card. And I remember thinking, oh, maybe he's not so great. But I didn't want to go there. So I had to read her, we have to go there. We can't go with our rose colored glasses. And that's the same
Yeah.
thing with the ex-wife, I remember going, oh, she actually fell down the stairs. And I had somebody, speaking of troll, which I thought was a troll at that time, said to me, no, she was like, something is not right.
She was helped.
Right. My point is, I didn't want to see that. So
Yeah,
part of
a
like
lot of people
growing,
don't.
right.
Yeah,
No, but I'm saying like, I remember back in my mind, there was an intuitive part of me like, something is off, but I didn't say that. So part of like growing for me the past few years, and it had to do with a lot of people watching. This had to do with the whole video. We have the rose colored glasses on, and it's being removed. Now it doesn't have to be where we have to go dramatic and it's the end of the world, but just to see like what is really going on. I guess we're wrapping it up, so it's kind of hard to see all this, what's going on right now, especially after the election. We never It was so shocking. And then what's going on around the world, the continuation of election interference. So it's not about going crazy, but we have to remove it, also see it, but also trust our intuition, hearing, well,
yeah.
two different things. We're hearing like it's going to go with that guy or it's still going to go with. So I think why is this all happening? It's not just for the other team. It's so many different reasons. But for me, it's been to
It's
continue to
more
see the
on a
positive, but I have to remove the rose colored glasses, you know?
yeah, it's all of this is happening not just here but in other countries because it's it's that smash and grab from the ultra wealthy who want absolute control. They don't want anybody else to have a voice or an opinion in how things are run because then that way they can take all the money and all the stuff and turn all of us into their little worker slaves,
Hmm.
you know, which most of us are already there anyway. We bust our ass working day to day. We don't have nothing to show for it, except we manage to pay the rent and the utilities and buy groceries once a month. Um, it's it can be really discouraging at times, but more than anything else at this stage of my life, it makes me mad as hell. It's like, what gives you the right to take away my country and my freedom? What gives you the right to tell me what kind of medical procedure I can have concerning my body between me and my doctor for what's best for me? You don't know shit about me. Why would I trust your opinion? And you're not a doctor, you know? You don't know what the hell you're talking about, but you're going to dictate what I can and can't do with my body for my health. I don't recall seeing any laws on the books telling men that they can't choose their health care without government interference, but it's perfectly okay to do that to women. Make that make sense, you know? Um, you can't tell me that a 10-year-old child who gets raped and becomes pregnant because of it, that it's okay to force her to go through a pregnancy that could very easily kill her, or at the very least, make her unable to ever give birth again because her body is not physically prepared for that, you know. But you're gonna force her to go through that kind of torture to have a baby that once it's born, you won't lift a finger to help take care of. You want to
Yeah.
take away SNAP, take away healthcare benefits, take away anything and everything that can help that child. Don't
I,
tell me you're
I
pro
heard
life.
that, I heard that for sesame, the men, it went up 1,000% because
Yeah,
they're afraid of not only getting a woman pregnant, but their wife could die if she bleeds out in the hospital and they won't,
right, exactly.
so
Um, and vasectomies are reversible. You know,
most of the time, yeah.
man can go in and get a vasectomy, and a couple of years later, they can go back and have it undone.
But at least they're taking the
You know,
responsibility. But both sides, our rose colored glasses, just to wrap it up, are being removed. Because there's stuff that re-seen
for
on
everybody,
about Democrat we didn't like either, you know? So
about everything. It's time to wake up and learn that you're the adult and it's
yeah.
time to be an adult. That means you have to make hard decisions. And maybe I won't agree with your decision, and maybe you won't agree with mine. But at least have enough respect for one another to say, okay, I don't agree with your decision, but it's your right to make it, and it's not my right to take it away from you. So,
Well, you
and
know
you know,
what?
as far
I
as
hope,
those that earn more money than God and don't know what to do with it,
but doesn't seem like
they
even
need
though
to start paying their fair share of everything around here. I'm tired of giving
right?
them the tax cut, and
I
I
mean,
have to work another job to pay mine. So,
yeah. All right. So I could talk, but we got to wrap it up because I know you guys don't want to watch for 2 hours.
yeah, and I can keep going some days. And I've still got videos to make, and I got a members video to prepare, and
Oh, yeah. Okay.
and
So
then I
thank
got
you
the
very
slumber
much.
party tonight at 11 p.m. Central. Y'all come back for the slumber party. Allie from
Oh,
Heart and Soul Connecting is going to be with me, and that's always fun. And
yeah.
slumber party is naughty cards, naughty or nice. You get to decide. You can ask for an oracle card pull, or you can get a naughty card pull, and we have a lot of fun with it. We don't really do questions per se. Sometimes we'll do a question. It's more just I want an oracle card, or I want a naughty card, or that kind of thing. And we
Yeah.
just basically, it's kind of an anything goes. We're just there to blow off steam on a Saturday night, have some fun,
That's
and,
great.
put your jammies on, get your adult beverage, settle down in front of your computer, and let's have fun. That's what.
It's perfect for
And
if you're having a problem going to sleep. You know, it's like you
yeah,
have
and,
some
and if you
positive.
if you hang around long enough, you get to watch me fall asleep. Because I will sit here on camera and go, "Mm," and I'll go right out, and then I'll pop my head back up, and I'll see 10 people in the chat say, "Sure, go to bed."
But you know what's good that Allie, she knows how to keep the conversation going, so she's good.
Oh yeah, Allie's my sweetheart. She's my
Right?
sister,
Yeah.
sister from another mister, and so I love the Allie to death. She was one of the first people to help me out when I started doing all of this, and she had me come on her channel and did like a who are you and what are you doing and why are you doing,
Right.
she used to do those interview type things back
Yeah.
then.
Right.
And so she was first one to
And which
ask
is
me to come
great.
on.
You know, when you're a newbie, now you're like, oh, but when you first
Yeah.
start out, it's a big deal.
Well, now y'all all know my life, all my crap. It's like I don't have anything to hide, but
Yeah.
I just
Which is
put
a
it
great
out there.
message to you if you want to start a channel, just work on your intuition. It's all in the beginning, it's
Yeah.
all like, and then
Well, if
it
you've
becomes,
started a channel and you're not sure what to do, or you're worried people won't watch you, shoot me an email. I'll have you come on and I'll showcase you to everybody. I love doing that. I love to bring new people on.
you heard
Debbie,
her?
Three Shifting
Not
Veils.
everybody does that.
She
They
was
don't.
just starting. Debbie from Three Shifting Veils just started her channel. She was always in the chat. We got to chatting one night, and I said, "Well, why don't you come on and you can show everybody what you do?" And she did. And we had a blast. And she's doing good now. She's slowly growing. And so
I'm not really shy, but sometimes I'm shy inviting people. And
yeah.
Carrie, not first, one of the first with Angela. She used to come on a lot. And then I had some people, but I had Sherry come on and we did a mediumship thing. I felt very comfortable with her. Actually, the way I found we connected was she had a guest. And then I emailed her about it. And then we went from there. It's one of those things
Yeah.
that synchronicity happens.
Yep.
So if she's
Exactly.
offering, for her to email, 'cause not a lot of people will do that.
Yeah, if you got a channel, if you do something in particular, email me. Let me
As
know.
long as you're not
We'll
stripping,
yeah, I mean, keep it clean,
we're
but
stripping with the card.
we'll do a show together and we can show, highlight let everybody see you. And, I'm all for that. There were people out there that did that for me when I first dipped my toe into this. And I
Yeah.
would not be where I am now if it wasn't for them helping me out. So that's the least I could do is help somebody else kind of
And
get
it
their
keeps it
footing
fresh.
and get out there.
You know, everybody
Yeah,
has a different energy. It keeps it fresh, the channel, when you have different people.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, all right, y'all, have a wonderful week. I'll see everybody tonight at 11 p.m. Central. Get your jammies and your adult beverage and meet us here. We'll have a party.